This episode is brought to you by Control N Consulting, where innovation meets expertise. We specialize in a range of services, including analysis and planning, custom software development, project management, as well as training and support. Our team is dedicated to ensuring the highest standards in quality assurance and testing. Choose Control N Consulting as your go-to partner for digital transformation and experience solutions tailored to propel your business forward.
Welcome to it. Today we have Jessica Randall, a fellow developer, community activist, and my co-host, Dami. All right, cool. Jess, let's talk about it. You are GDSC alumni lead.
Yes.
MLSA alumni.
Yes.
GDG organizer Cape Town.
Yes.
WTM ambassador.
Yes.
Girl Code ambassador.
Yes.
Google crowdsource influencer.
Yes.
Community lead for Africa's Talk.
Yes.
So then the first question would be how? How is it? Or is there anything I'm missing from that list?
Yes. So I just recently became a Zindi ambassador for South Africa. So Zindi ambassador for South Africa. And I think that's cool. Oh, and I'm a mentorship coordinator for UWC IT Society. Yeah.
Mathematician as well.
Oh, and mathematician. Yes. I'm also a mathematician, yeah.
Is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, I think, yeah.
Wow.
That covers.
Okay, cool. So now, how do you do it? It seems like there's a lot going on. How do you manage?
Okay, so I'm I've always wanted a multifaceted career. So I like doing many different things at once, or many different positions at once that have the same type of things involved. So I started off like really small. So I started off with GDSC, and then I met an alumni of GDSC that introduced me to Microsoft Student Learning Ambassador, and then it became MLSA. And then through GDSC, once you graduate, because it's only a term, the term is only a year, and then I ventured into all the different other Google developer communities, and then through those Google developer communities, I went a bit more global, or more Africa, or like more a different type of technology, but within Africa. So AI and data science is what Zandi represents. And then I decided to feed back into my university, and then I went for like mentorship coordinator, because I do mentor people and I have lots of mentees. And at the moment, I think I have three GDSC mentees that I'm mentoring at the moment. So yeah, that's how it all started. It was like one drop caused a massive wave of opportunities. Yeah.
I'm guessing then do you enjoy everything that you do? I mean, you wouldn't do it if you don't enjoy it, but yeah, is it something that you would recommend, to be active in the community like that?
Yes. So I want to say, like, I'm a jack of all trades, and everyone says, that quote where like you are a jack of all trades, but it's still better than being a master at one.
Okay.
So that's like the full quote. Everybody gets it wrong.
Yeah.
So I feel like being a master at many different things is amazing, because it helps you build a skill set to move into many different things. And the tech industry is in such a way where everything changes all the time, but you can also be out of work within like an instant, or things change, everything changes, but you have to be highly adaptable. So I feel like getting to know the community, or being active within the community, helps you become a sustainable, adaptable, flexible developer.
Sure.
Which is really important for today's society and world.
Yeah. You don't have to hold the mic.
and I do love it. Like, I love everything.
Yeah.
Love it. There are like days where you like don't want to do something. Like or you're like really tired or exhausted and drained, but like there are those like people or crew that you have, and they're like, I'll see you at that event, and I'm like, yes, I will see you at that event, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to go to that event and be there.
Yeah.
But it's always a pleasure to see the community and be involved in the community. If I'm attending, it's amazing. If I'm hosting, it's also amazing. They're both equally amazing in different perspectives.
Yeah. So I met Jessica at, well, I didn't really meet, but I saw her at GDG Cape Town, and I was like, okay, we are moving. She was working the man, I wanted to bring it, the tags, you know. Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's someone I would love to talk to. So now, how did you get into? Oh, before today, I didn't know that you're actually a speaker as well. Or that's what you are trying to venture into. I always thought you were just maybe the organizer, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get into organizing events for GDG specifically?
Okay, so for GDG specifically, it started around March this year. So Sylvia, which is like one of the, when I say former organizers, was leaving, and last year Maya also left. So we were like, they were down a few members, and they're looking for some fresh blood, new perspective, techies to like take over the community or manage it. So she like recruited me and was like, do you think you'll be interested? You don't have to be perfect. It's just fun. They are like the hard parts, but we'll be there for the hard parts, and we're in a team and we'll help you with everything. So then I was like, okay, cool. I'm down. I'll definitely join GDG.
Yeah.
So I joined, and then I helped out with some events, or like how do I say, when you do the job shadowing?
Yeah.
So I did something like that. So I job shadowed what being a GDG organizer looked like. So like some of them would host, as in like do the speaking part for the events.
Yeah.
The treasury part, which involved like speaker gifts, and like all the slides and like just the general like organizing events, we'd like job shadowed. And then in June, I had to host like my first event, or get like the turn of doing all the duties, the different duties. So like I had to find a sponsor for the venue.
Yeah.
I had to speak with the speakers. I have to like communicate with them, like we need you to fill out this speaker form. And once all of that, and like the social media and everything, so it's like you manage the whole event, and you have like people to help you out in the day, but like all the planning and the like program management and everything I had to do for that specific event, which was quite interesting because it was like a lot of work at once, but it kind of like put you like, you start taking the training wheels off, and I was like riding a bike, and then I was riding a bike at full speed. So that's what it felt like. But it was really nice, and I'm glad that they did do that, because DevFest was like, it was training for DevFest, because DevFest is on like a much bigger scale. You have more important people that you have to speak to, and more sponsors, and more people you have to interact with, and there's always going to be like not so nice parts of the event.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to take feedback with that, and like it just prepared you for the whole process of the before DevFest, and then after DevFest. Yeah.
And then besides DevFest, which other events are you involved with?
Okay, so for like the bigger, Google has like a calendar of all their different campaigns. So at the moment, I'm supposed to be preparing for IWD, which is happening in March.
IWD is
International Women's Day.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, so we always celebrate International Women's Day. It helps that we also have our National Women's Day, so we do it twice within a year. But basically, we have IWD, which is like around March. Yeah, March, April. And then when you get towards like July, August, then June, July, August, then you have IO extended, because it comes like immediately after IO.
Yeah.
So it like highlights all the things about what happened in IO, what Google announced, what's all the updates with all the different technologies like Android Cloud, AI, all of those things, all the updates. So then all the GDGs have what you call like IO extended. So it's like an overview of what happened at IO and what you can explore as a developer or just someone interested in Google technologies. So that's happened June, July, August, and then September to December, January is like more or less DevFest season.
DevFest, yeah.
Yeah. It's, for me, it like ends in November, but like I was looking at social media and everyone is still posting about DevFest. I was like, okay, DevFest is still happening. December, maybe it ends just before Christmas and then it's Christmas and then, yeah. But yeah, there was and then I think January is Flutter Forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when all the Flutter people do Flutter Forward. And there's like different specific dates for different technologies. Like there might be like an Android summit. The Web Summit took place in, I hope I get this right, but I know that it was in Europe.
Yeah.
The Web Summit, and like all those like individual events that happen. And I know there's Cloud Next that's coming up soon. So like there's like a whole lots of different events. But the other events that I do is more like smaller meetups or smaller events every month. And then I also have conferences that I wish to either go to or speak at.
Which meetups do you do?
For like every month GDG has a meetup.
Oh, every month.
Yeah.
Oh, I
and
didn't know
then
that.
for
You're invited.
for UWC, we tend to have like some events throughout the year. Not all of them I can attend, but yeah, some events throughout the year. And then there's like lots of other events that I attend as just an attendee. Like I attended the games night that the Microsoft community had in Cape Town, which was really fun. We played software bingo. It was super like interesting. And then we played like all these quizzes and games. So like those are like some of the events I like look out for.
Yeah.
Because it's always nice to integrate with different communities and see like how they're flourishing and what's happening. Just to keep up to date with all technologies, not just Google. So tend to diversify my community reach or involvement. And then, yeah, the conferences that I wish to attend or speak at, most of them are Android because I'm an Android lover or Android dev and training. So like DroidCon Berlin, DroidCon Lisbon, Android makers, anything Android. I either want to attend or speak at. There's also PL Droid, Poland Droid, which is happening next year in May, which I'm really excited. So
are you attending?
I am a speaker.
Ooh, yes, girl.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I just got accepted to be a speaker for PL Droid, so I'm really excited about it. Yeah,
it's amazing.
It is incredible, and I mean, I think maybe just kind of segueing into speaking about how you have gotten to this point, so a bit of your history. So your undergrad was in mathematics and statistics. You've done your honors in mathematics. Where is Android and programming? Where is that coming in? How do you first get exposed to GDSC, which I should know because research is important, but it sounds like it's like Google Dev for students, like on a student level.
Yes.
So yeah, where is that coming in? And then I'll kind of follow up.
Okay. So I did my BSc in Maths and Stats, and then in my honors here, I was doing my honors in Maths, and then my friend messaged me because he was a GDSC before me. He was the first one at our university, and he was saying, Jess, look, I need to find a lead, or you think a lead because they're going to close our chapter. And then he asked me, like, do you think you would want to be a Google Student Developer lead? And then I was like, but I don't know anything about tech. And he was like, you don't need to know anything about tech. You just need to be passionate about tech and passionate about helping others and getting others onto the right paths that they need to be. And you just basically need to be a community activist or someone who's really enthusiastic about communities. And I was like, okay, let's try. Let's see if I get it or not. And but I will apply. So he gave me this code and I applied. And I remember, I think it was August, I got the email and like I couldn't stop jumping up and down. I phoned my friend. I was like, I'm a GDSC lead. I'm a GDSC lead. And he was like, Jess, what is GDSC? I was like, Google Student Developer Club. And he's like, oh, so you got accepted by Google to be a student leader? I was like, yes. It's like, okay, I can see you are very excited about that. So that's how I got into like all the different types of technologies. So I've always liked technology. I've always like been curious about it. I'm always curious about the latest phone or the latest tech that's coming out, or the latest thing you can do with your hands, like the when the gesture things came out.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I want to get this. And they were like, you love tech too much.
Yes,
I was
you're
like,
a very
yeah.
expensive baby.
They said that. So I'm like really passionate about like technology, but I just didn't know how passionate I was about technology. And then I got exposed to, well, all of Google's products. So I just know Google as the search engine,
Yeah.
but like nobody introduces you to Google as like Google Cloud or Google AI or Android that Google does, like Pixel and Pixel Phone, Android for TV, and like all of those things. No one introduces you to that. So I got exposed to all of Google's like products in that sense, Google Maps and like all of those things. And then I was like, wow, that sounds interesting. And then I actually became lots of friends with Android developers, or we call them GDEs, which stands for Google Developer Experts. But basically they are like chosen experts within that field or technology. So for example, you can be an expert in Android, but it doesn't mean you know all of Android. It just means the specific part of Android that you know you are very good at.
Yeah.
So like for example, Kotlin or Java, you can be a Java engineer or you could be a Kotlin developer. Both are within the Android realm, really. So I like became really good friends with them, and then they were like, okay, so what do you like about Android that you would want to do Android? I remember because my friend asked me this. I was like, well, I like Android because I use it as a phone. Like I like Android phone. And he was like, but what do you like that Android gives you? I was like, I like how they make things simpler and how everything's displayed within Android and how you can meet your user where they need to be. So it was more like I wanted to be an Android developer because I wanted to be that person that's going to create for the next billion users type of world. So that's how I got into Android and where I want to like what I want to create for the world. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Android, and that's how it integrates with everything that I studied at the moment.
I think what really stands out for me is, you know, just from your journey becoming a GDSC lead, and how the emphasis there wasn't what is your competence, but do you have the passion for it? And that passion is also just evident like in your vision for, you know, why Android and, you know, why you want to develop for Android. And I think, when I just wanted to highlight that, like, your journey into Android development is pretty much self-taught. It's you engineering that learning journey for yourself, and finding other humans to help you along. I think that's like a learning moment for me as well. Like just highlighting the importance of having community, like especially if you're doing like self-teaching and things like that.
Yeah, maybe a follow-up to that. For someone who's also thinking about getting into Android development, what would be your advice?
Okay, so I would say, first things first, why do you want to get into Android development? I think people get into tech for all the wrong reasons. Like they just think money, or they just think, I don't know, money. But like I feel like you need to be very purposeful about your tech journey, because there will be moments where you gonna want to quit on it, and then you don't want to quit on it. That's the reason. So you need to find a reason that even when you say you want to quit, you know you won't. So that's like one of the things I would say, be very purposeful about it, about why you want to do Android. And then I would say, start with the tech stack that you know the most. Um, so one of my SSA managers was like, people always asking, what language do I learn first? Or what is the best language to do
Yeah.
development on? And he was like, the language that you are most comfortable with is the best language for you to do anything with, because you're the most comfortable with it, which means even if you don't know something, you'll be able to figure it out. Number one, you feel at ease with it. The syntax is not hard. You can flow with it. And if you're already comfortable with it, then you'll be the best at it very soon. So like that's one of the things I would suggest with the tech stack. And then I would say bold. I know you need to learn all the basics and like maybe learn like all the syntax and like basic things you need to do within the Android environment. Maybe learn a little bit more about the Android environment. Like, do you want to use Android Studio as your IDE, or you want to use a different platform, something like that?
Yeah.
But I would say bold. It's you learn on the job, but it's the best way to be a good or a great developer, and you won't get confused about all the different dependencies from a video that you watched and you're trying to copy this video and it's like nothing is going in and it goes through the one ear and then through the other ear. So I feel like if you are building and you're learning like how to put things together by yourself, you will figure out eventually what works and what doesn't work. It will be hard, but then it will become more natural in how you work with the language, your program language.
Yeah. Maybe going back to event organizing, you've recently been in Kenya
Yes.
Uganda.
and where?
And Uganda.
Uganda.
Mm.
How is that life like? That sounds like a very nice life to live.
It is. It's very tiring. I'm gonna be honest. Like there are parts of it that I don't like, which is like people always say, Jess, you're always moving. I was like, it takes a week to pack and get everything ready for the travel, and then you travel, and then you get there, and then you take a few days to recover, and then you do everything that you need to do, and then you come back, and then you need to recover again. That's like what it looks like. And they're like, but you got, I was like, yes, but that's like the whole process. Like it takes time to get ready for travel. And then when you come back, you need to recover from it. But it's really fun. Like it's so much fun. I don't think I would change it for the world.
Besides the event, what did you enjoy about Kenya?
The people,
Yeah.
the culture, the food, and the experience.
And then with Uganda?
Same type of same type of list. The
You know,
people.
with traveling, I always feel like, for me, the biggest thing is always the food. I don't know. I don't like trying new foods.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I used to think I wouldn't be that person, but my friends are like, they make it. They are so I'm so comfortable around them that if they say, "Do you want to try this?" and I was like, "Okay, just tell me what it is, and then I'll try it." And then I tried it, and it's actually like it's really nice. Like I love Kenyan food. It's like the most flavorful food I've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the kind of person who'll go to Kenya and look for the first KFC. Yeah.
Pretty much. I was in the Netherlands in, was it August, September?
August, yeah.
The fact that I couldn't find aromat really like annoyed me. Like
He just dabs it on
it's bland.
everything.
It's so
Everything.
The food is so bland. Like so yeah, for me it's always the food, man. It's like I want to go to these places, but the food. Will I find something that? But yeah.
Yeah. I think what I want to kind of, and this is like a proper tangent. So yeah, like we kind of explained to you, our backgrounds are both in IT as well. And when I was in varsity, I was like so reluctant to join groups like GDSC because it just felt like I wasn't developer enough. How do you persuade people to get involved with stuff like this? And I feel like you've kind of touched on it just based on your history as a person coming from maths and stats and becoming a GDSC lead. Right? But yeah, like how do you persuade a varsity level dummy who's like, I can't join those people because those people really know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And then the second thing is, okay, talking to grown-up dummy, who's a bit introverted, who's a bit shy, how do you get the most out of the kinds of events that you're organizing? So,
So, how I would encourage people to enter like those developer communities, be at the university or like in a professional sense, I would say there's always something to learn in those spaces. So never feel like you're not like developer enough. The reason why I say this is because some of the greatest developers I know always say, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. So I feel like,
bars.
yeah, you need to like get over that fear of feeling like you shouldn't be there, because you should be there. You do belong there. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you'll be able to take full advantage of the opportunities that come with it, when you go to those developer communities. Other than the fun part, when I go to, well, any community event, or if I'm hosting, it's a bit different because I do all the background work. But if I'm attending an event, I always look to like think of 3 things that I want to get out of going to this event, other than the normal, which is like you always get free food, so that's a plus. um,
T-shirts.
and swag.
The t-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like those are like the last 2 on my list of my 5-point list.
Right.
So the first one would be like, I need to make new developer friends. And the reason why I say this is because you never know where you're going to go when you do developing or developer stuff. And then there might be an opportunity, but you might not need it, but you know someone who would need it. So I always go with the intention that I want to make new friends so that I can expand my developer network. The second is to network, because it's through those events that I get all my speaking engagements. Also, so it's like also a marketing, or I wouldn't say marketing, it's indirect marketing strategy on how to be in the right place at the right time to get the right opportunities. And then the third thing would be, I would like to impact at least 2 people when I walk into that event. So it could either be like, you saw me on something, or I want to talk to you and ask you for advice. How did you get started? Anything like that. That's one of my 3 things.
Number 3, you've already achieved, because we are here today because saw you at the event and I was like, that's someone I would like to talk to. So the networking part, right? There's always people who always gather in because they know other people, right, at these events. So Jessica is coming in, doesn't know anyone. How does Jessica mingle? It's very, I always feel like it's very easy when we like conceptually, but doing it is always difficult.
Yeah.
How would you navigate that space? You don't know anyone. You're going to Poland next year. How do you navigate that space?
Okay. So I find that it's very hard to navigate that space. So like I definitely agree with you, it's hard because everyone kind of knows everyone. So they all kind of hang out in cliques or in groups of people. But I feel like the trick is to be your most authentic self when you introduce yourself. So like just come as yourself. And I never like to stay with the same people for all the time. So like in Ghana, I didn't really know a lot of people. So I went from like one table to where I didn't know anyone to another table where I didn't know anyone to another table where I didn't know anyone. So the goal was to at least meet 10 different people and introduce yourself to them and find out what they do, what they like doing, and just get a sense of what they do and what they're passionate about. So like if you set like maybe, I don't know, small goals for yourself, and you only have to ask like maybe 3 questions. What is your name? What do you do? And what you're passionate about? That you really get so much from those 3 questions. Then it will go from there. It will move on to, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Can I maybe get your number so that we can contact about a future project that I related to you when you described what you were passionate about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
how I would navigate that space.
So I have a goal for next year. Maybe you can advise me on this.
Okay.
Speaking of swag and food, the things you don't really
Number
count as
4 and 5.
priority. Number 4 and 5 is I want to be at a place where I can have a T-shirt for every day of the year in 2025. How many events do I need to attend? Like, just get free swag.
I'm like, is this an event question or a maths question or?
We have someone who can. Who
Okay,
fits.
that's a very good question. So I would say, look at all the companies in Cape Town that give out free swag.
That's number one.
That's number one.
Okay.
Go on to Meetup and search for all the days that they will have events. And make sure you go to every single event to make sure that you get swag at every single event. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Your monthly meetup, do you give free swag?
At the moment, for our monthly meetups, we don't really have swag, but we're hoping to like maybe look into having like a merchandise store available. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say look at all the tech places that have swag for all the events, and then go to every single one.
Every single one of them. So is my dream
Yes.
possible?
Just looks like she's believing in it. I'm just like, babes.
It is possible. It is possible. Very much possible.
Okay, cool. So what's next for Jessica? You are
Currently mastering
mastering the event game, like
and mastering maths.
right. What's next?
What's next? Okay, so what's next for me will probably be, at the moment, I'm still like in Africa as a speaker. So I want to be more like an international speaker, or like, I want to say more of a global player for the speaking game. For communities, I still have all the communities that I have. I just don't think I will be able to do all of them, maybe like within the next 3 years or so. So I probably would hand over those to people that are like I wouldn't say mini versions of me, but have the same passions or the same care and love that I have for those communities that I can no longer keep due to the capacity of speaking engagements that I have. My goal is to be a GDE. It's on my list of things that I wish to achieve. So it's something I really aspire to be, but it also takes up a lot of your time and capacity, which means you can't really be involved in many communities as much unless you do them virtually, But I'd say what's next is I'm ready for anything to like come into my life and just jump in. Like that's what's next for me. In terms of the academic world, I'm hoping that I would like to finish my master's. What's after that is I would say I would want to be as spontaneous as possible when it comes to that. Because I like many different things, and right now it's really hard to find a job or let's just say a job that incorporates everything.
Everything. Yeah.
So I would say I would want to have a career that is multifaceted and has everything that I love to do with math, somewhere in between.
And sorry, just to go back to the GDE. So GDE in Kotlin.
Yes.
Okay.
So they don't have the title anymore for
okay,
Kotlin,
cool.
but you would just be like a GDE in Android.
Right. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
So now, public speaking is a problem for most people, including myself. How does one prepare for a big stage? How do you go about it?
Okay. So for a big stage, I usually try to test it out on my parents that know nothing about Android or
That's a good
anything
crowd to
or
test on.
anything, or like they don't know the math that I do. So when I say I figured out this homology group, and then they look at me like, what? And it's like, homology groups, like they describe holes and gaps within a space, and they're like, as long as you understand it, it's fine. Okay, they're happy with me. But basically, I do that because they think like they sometimes they would ask questions that would prepare me for people that would ask me questions at the end of my session that are like just like out of the scope completely. It just helps me with improv. So I do that so that I'll be better at improv. But also, I would say book as many sessions as possible. That also works because you get practice.
As many sessions, you mean
Like speaking
speak.
engagements.
where you speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it makes you practice for the, well, obviously you practice for them, but you get practice in speaking so that it doesn't, the nervousness will go less or anxiety will be less. So you will just be more comfortable in speaking publicly. So I try to do that, which I did successfully do this year. Many speaking engagements, and I practice on my parents and brother, and I have to time myself so that you make good time because they only give you like 40 minutes and then 30 minutes is speaking time and then 10 minutes questions and answers. So you have to get to the point very quickly and be clear and concise very quickly so that you capture all your content and you're not running late. That's the worst part. So you don't want to run late and want to be clear and concise. I'm very soft spoken, so I should actually invest in a mic. But a mic usually. I should get like a practice mic.
Oh.
But also like a mic that I can take with me to events with a battery or something. Because
why do you need
so
a mic?
then you would have, because the event will have a mic, right? No,
not
always.
Not always. So
really?
not always. Like
so they just expect you to project.
Yes, and I don't have like
the theater voice.
I don't have like I'm not a singer, so I don't have like the projecting voice. So I probably should get a mic and the clickers and sensors and stuff. So I must add it to my speaking present
But
list.
now, how are you gonna have a mic and a speaker, like an actual speaker?
Yeah, or just like. Yeah,
I'm not sure. But the thing is,
I was gonna get the mic.
But I know that I went to an event and there was no like, okay, like it was a small audience, but
Yeah,
there was
because
no,
you're soft spoken.
because I'm soft spoken. So it's not. I feel like people think you have to be loud to be a public speaker. That's not why you do public speaking. You do public speaking because you speak about stuff that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So I obviously am very passionate about Android, but I just need a little voice amplification. So yeah, I don't know about the mic thing, but I went to an event where they didn't have one and I had to be loud and it was uncomfortable for me. Yeah.
And then how do you pick which conferences to submit talks to?
Okay. So for conferences or for DevFest specifically, it depends if I'm going that side. So I know every year I will always go to Kenya because I always visit Kenya. It's like my second home. Literally, it is my second home. So I know DevFest Nairobi, DrakeCon Kenya is always within my list or plan for the year. For the SS, I didn't know that I was going to go to the SSA summit, but I got confirmation to go, and then it was in Kigali, and I applied to be a speaker at the Kigali Dev Fest, and then I got accepted for that. So that kind of worked out. I don't know how, but it worked out. So if I would be around within that time and there is events happening, I will apply for them. And then there's those ones that I definitely know I want to go for, like PL Droid, Android Makers. I will try for Kotlin Conf, but no promises. If not, I'll just keep it like I always keep my talks for for other sessions and stuff. But and then I also have the ones that I wish to attend. So like DrakeCon Berlin is always on my list to attend, and I want to try DrakeCon New York because I've never been to the US. So I know those two are like on my list for attending. Yeah.
You know, what I'm picking up is all the places you would like to visit, you are trying to find a way to go there and maybe do a bit of work, sort of killing two birds with one stone, which I think is, I've never heard that before, where you are targeting places that you always wanted to visit, but then you're like, okay, cool, can I go there for work? And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think what stands out for me as well is thinking first of all, what am I interested in? What would I want to attend? And then, okay, maybe I can speak there. Which is as opposed to thinking, where can I speak?
Yeah.
And then figuring out,
Yeah.
do I want to go there to begin with? Yeah.
So going back to GDG, Cape Town, what's the criteria for speakers there?
Okay. So I hope so that I think I never like to be a part of this process because it's just not nice. I prefer to be the person that applies to speak and never like judge the people that,
because
like,
I was rejected 3 times.
Oh,
so
guys.
your answer,
It's personal.
your answer must just
It
know.
was Jess.
It was her, right? No, I'm joking.
No,
I've
see,
never applied.
I really don't like
I've
being
never
a part.
applied, so don't worry.
Okay, I really don't like being a part of the speaking process, but generally when it comes to DevFest, we always like to try and take half local and half international. So like we try to give a balance in like, and we also like to think of wild gender distribution. So like enough women within the space of speaking, and then we also look at the topic. So generally we like to have like a little bit of beginner, a little bit of intermediate, and a little bit of expert within the range of different topics. But we also want it to be interesting. So it's got to make us not fall asleep when we read it. The app, it's really hard because you're going based on just the abstract. So if you don't know this person and you don't know how they speak or what their speaking sessions look like, you just see their abstract and you just see their profile and you have to make a decision on that, which is really hard. So your abstract kind of like tells us like how well you thought about it. Your title, like did you really put thought into the title? Because most people don't like creating titles. And it's got to be like catchy. So like those are like the three. Well, those are the things we look at when we look at speakers.
Yeah. I have a theory that GDG always prioritizes people that have, with the talks include a Google product.
It's unashamedly so.
Yes.
Okay.
It's because DevFest is more like like a mini conference that celebrates Google products. So our primary focus is Google technologies, but we're not gonna like not accept you if it's not a Google technology specifically. If that makes sense.
iOS.
Direct nemesis.
You still use Kotlin to develop for iOS. You still use
What if I use
Flutter.
Swift?
Okay, maybe not Swift, but I mean like if somehow Google is involved but not like direct, then it's still valid.
And I mean, honestly, I think it's harder to avoid Google. You know, like the APIs that you use. When you think maps, who else are you thinking, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Can you please complete the sentence? I want people to understand that event organizers
are hardworking, amazing, and genuinely care about how events perform.
Cool. Do you think event organizers are underrated?
Yes.
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest, just because I feel like people like, I don't know, I've been to an event where people just always complain about everything, but like they don't know the behind the scenes of what the team actually went through or what is going through their minds when things go wrong. And like there's a lot of like conflicts and problems that we are dealing with ourselves, and then the only thing you can say is what went wrong or what you want to complain about. And I'm just like,
That's fair. So it almost feels like any developer's goal should be to organize at least one event, just to like experience what it is behind the
I
scenes.
definitely think they
2024
should.
goals.
Yes, because it's just a lot. Like, it's not just, I don't know if people think like we have all this money, like it's not like that's like half or like maybe a quarter of what we get from Google, and then everything else is finding sponsors and negotiating with sponsors. Like, do you think you'll be able to cover this year? Like, everyone's going through a recession. The economic situation is not great for most companies, so it's not like, oh, we're hosting an event. It's like the most heavenly thing in the world. It's like, oh, we're hosting an event. How are we going to make this happen? Real hard truth. Like, that's what it looks like. And then also, like, we have to show up early. We have to make sure that everything's wrapped up. If you have big sets, you have to dismantle the sets. If you have banners, you have to pack them away. If you have banners that need to be transported, you need to manage that. If you have, like, it's a lot.
That's an interesting point. What time did the conference start in Waterfront? Was it 8?
I think it was supposed to start at 9.
At 9. So what's the call time? What time do you guys have to be at the venue if it's that early?
By 7.
By 7.
Yeah, I was there 7:15.
Sure.
And did you set up everything that day, or
Yeah,
because that space is used for
other events?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you had to set up that day.
Yeah, that day.
Hectic.
So I mean, one might instinctively say, why not just do it online then? So what is your feelings around online meets versus in-person meets?
I feel like online is great. So at the moment, like, some of our biggest developer communities like Lagos and Nairobi, they have like over 3,000 members.
Sure.
So imagine trying to organize a
Online.
meetup for over 3,000 members in person is like, how? We're never going to find a venue that big. And we're never going to have enough, I don't know, everything for that big of an event. So they have like moved to online in the sense that they had to. So like they only have like certain events that are like in person, like GUI Extended or IWD or DevFest. Like those events would be like in person. But I genuinely think that in person's just got a different feel to it. Like, it makes developers feel at home. Like, you get to see an actual person, you get to interact with the actual person. It's not the same online. And I think ever since COVID, people don't want to be online.
Yeah.
Maybe work online, that's fine. But like when it comes to social interaction, I want to hang out with the actual person in real time, see the actual person, interact with the actual person.
Yeah. There's a young girl out there hoping to get into IT, but it's a very male-dominated space. What is your advice for that young girl out there?
Okay, so I feel like the space is like generally it is dominated by males, right? But I feel like you have to be a very strong-willed person to go for what you want. So people always say, like, dreams are just dreams, right? But you have to turn them into actual goals for them to be a reality. So I understand that it is male dominated, but you have to want it enough to go for it. Like, people always say, oh, I wanted to do this, and I was like, okay, but now did you actually like do the research, put down the steps, and then actually go for it? No. Like there's a process to going for what you want, and people just think that they're gonna, I don't know, be Mark Zuckerberg in like the next 5 years and then get everything. And it just unfortunately doesn't work like that. You have to kind of map out what you want and then also map out what you think you're gonna face. So you're going into a male dominated space, right? So who do you have to support you in that space? Or is your family supportive of you? If that is there, then you have a home, like someone who's going to be there for you. Or if you don't have that, do you have a community that you can associate yourself with in which they can help you be your support system?
Yeah.
So, and then if you feel like you might need more technical expertise, find a mentor. Like, I feel like people always just map like how to get there and what they're gonna get when they get there, but they never map like maybe the potential things they might face while getting there.
Yeah. And I just
That's
want to
interesting.
maybe like plug you at this point, right? Like some of these initiatives that you're involved in, we have WTM, which is Women Tech Makers,
Yeah.
Girl Code Ambassador. I mean, those are like organizations that are explicitly focusing on empowering and helping out women as a minority in this IT space. So, yeah, would you say like those are initiatives that this young girl, do they cater to someone like that who is trying to get into IT? And
Yes. So like there's like those are just a few, but there's like many organizations that cater for women in tech. There's Women in Tech org, there's Women Tech Makers, which is Google, but we also have what you call like membership where you can become a Women Tech Maker member and then apply to be an ambassador. But there are many communities that cater for women. You just have to look for them.
Right.
Unfortunately, not all voices can be found all across the globe. So if you don't really know of where to look, then it's kind of hard to find them, but they are around. And if you don't know where to look, maybe find someone who does know where to look or knows of someone that they think they can help you find those places. But also all the other communities are also trying to think of how they can make spaces safer for women. So it's not just like those women tech communities, like all developer communities are looking to make the space more inclusive and diverse.
What are some of the maybe 2 events worth attending in Cape Town, not including GDG?
Oh, not including GDG. Yes. Okay, so for women, I know that womenintech.org had their networking event. Definitely worth attending if they have it again. But I know this year that they had that. So, and then also Microsoft's community game night or any of the other meetups. I went to the game night and I had the most fun I've ever had. So definitely any of the Microsoft communities events, you can look them up on Meetup. And then if Women in Tech is can have like, okay, they had a networking event for this year, but I'm not sure whether they're going to do next year. But any event that they host is always a pleasure to attend.
So now Jessica is busy doing all of this amazing work. How do you cool off?
Yeah, like, and just as like a kind of, coming in Jabulani Ball style, do you like get peopled out, like, or
Yes, you do. So, luckily, the person that I was with when the person that hosted me in Kenya, he understands like social draining or like when you say like you peopled out. So he's never like pushing like, do you want to go out? So like, but he always says like maybe before an event you would like to rest and then you do the event and then after the event you'd like to like not go anywhere and just stay like in the house. So the funny thing is I've had many different events like over since from July to like November. I've had events. So I haven't had much time to like cool off. But now I don't really have any events. So I'll spend time with my family. I will read, watch movies. Movies always works because I don't feel like I have to do anything. I just have to look at a screen and enjoy the acting on the screen. So I always like to do that. And just not do anything that involves a computer. So like you take break from all your devices, anything like that. Like that's generally what I like to do. And from people. In the nicest way possible, I try not to meet up with people after I've done events because like just I don't have the energy, and it's like almost like I need to rebuild that energy and save it and nurture it so that by the time next year happens, I will be like, let's do events. Yeah, because even like as a host, you have to interact with a lot of people, so you have to be ready for that. You need to look like not tired. You need to look energetic and fun, and someone who wants to talk to you, would like to talk to you. Like you have to look like someone who is approachable and like all of those things. So after events, I generally don't want to see people. I don't even want to see my device. I like put it away and just watch TV.
Yeah. I think the key thing I learned during this conversation is that when looking for events to submit, don't look at South Africa only. Look outside. I contemplated doing the event speaking thing, but my public speaking is very bad. But I think from this conversation, I feel like there's much more out there than just our local tech scene. Yeah. Is there anything else
Yeah,
that I'm missing?
there's so much that I've learned from you as well. Like, I think you are remarkable.
Yeah.
And I'm always so excited to meet people who are amazing, but I mean, they kind of know they are, but it's also like so understated, which I think you are. Like, you just, and I think it's your attitude. Like, you've got such a go-getter attitude. It's like, we're doing this, we'll figure it out, but we are doing it.
Yeah. I don't have the full picture, but
yeah, we'll figure it
make a
out.
plan.
And there's
Yeah.
communities, like, why am I suffering alone, kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I also just wanted to add, like, and there's lots more that I've taken from this. And like I said, I'm like a very reserved person. I'm just like, oh, the meets are for those people, they're for the smart people. But after this conversation, like, it's been so eye-opening to be like, I can go to a space like GDG and Jess is going to be there, and I can talk to Jess. Like, Jess wants to talk to me. So I hope that this will also be encouraging for other people like me who have always been like, there's normal developer and there's developers that go to meet. It's like, no, actually, all of us have something we can get from that space and contribute to that space as well. Yeah.
All right. I think Jessica, thank you for coming through. Is there anything else you wanna talk about? You wanna plug? You wanna?
I would just like to say thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I really enjoyed it. The conversation was interesting, definitely intriguing. And I just would like to say to all the developers out there in Africa or in the world, I don't know, just don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to fail if you try new things. And then also don't be afraid to ask for help if you try new things. Yeah.